Lesson 6, subtracting rational numbers. So this is a pretty short lesson. So it wants you to solve the first 3 equations mentally and rewrite each addition equation as a subtraction equation. So you can do these mentally. We're just going to go over how you would rewrite it. So to rewrite each addition equation as a subtraction equation, we would want to list our sum first. So 458 minus my given number of 247, which gives me C. On the second one, I would have 58 and 9200ths minus 43 and 8700ths, and that would give me my value for C. And on the third one, I would have 51/8 minus 15/8, which would give me my difference, which is C. So on 6.2, expressions with altitude. So this is similar to a lesson we've done previously with the mountaineer. So it says that a mountaineer is changing elevations. Write an expression that represents the difference between the final elevation and beginning elevation. Then write the value of the change. So it's important to know that difference tells me I'm going to be subtracting. I don't know why. So it's important to know that difference means I'm going to be subtracting. So we have a beginning elevation of 400 feet, and our final elevation is positive 50 feet. So to find the difference, it would be my final minus my beginning. So 50 minus 400. And he wants to know what is the amount of change. So if I know I was at 400 and I finished at 50, I went down 350 feet. And since I went down, that would be a negative change. So negative 350. Okay, I have a beginning elevation of positive 400. And I finished at negative 120. So my difference expression would be negative 120 minus 400. Well, I know if I start at positive 400, it would be 400 feet to get to an elevation of 0 feet. And then I have to go down 120 more feet to get to negative 120 feet, which tells me there was a change of 520 feet. And I went down, so that would be negative 520. Okay, and the next one we have a beginning elevation of negative 200 feet. My final elevation was at positive 610 feet. So it would be 610 minus negative 200. So think about if you start at negative 200 on a number line. Well, you have to travel 200 units to get to 0. And then 610 more units to get to 610. So that would be a total of 810 feet of change. And you're traveling up, so it would be positive 810. Next one we started at negative 200 feet. And our final elevation is at negative 50 feet. So again, we're moving up because we're going towards the positives. We didn't quite make it to the positive, but we're still moving up. So our expression would be negative 50 minus negative 200. And that is a change of 150 feet going up. So it's positive 150. Negative 200 and finish at negative 500. So negative 500 minus negative 200. So think about if you're at negative 200 feet or 200 feet below sea level and you become 500 feet below sea level, you're actually getting further below sea level. So you're moving down 300 feet. So it'd be negative 300. And on the last one, you start at negative 200 feet elevation and you finish at 0. So that would be 0 minus negative 200. Which would put me at positive 200 feet. And 6.3 is just looking at whether or not the order of subtraction matters. So we have table A where we have 3 minus 2. Well, we know that is 1. And then we have 2 minus 3. So think about if you're on a number line. If you start at positive 2 and you move 3 units to the left, you're going this direction. So you land at negative 1, not positive 1. So order does matter. I'm not going to go through all these. You can on your own if you want more practice. But order is very important in subtraction. Whereas in addition, if we have 3 plus 2 and 2 plus 3, my answer is the same, but not for subtraction. So you have to be very careful on that. So in Lesson 6 summary, we just talk about the difference of two numbers. It means that we're subtracting them. And you subtract them in the order they're named. So if you find the difference of positive 8 and negative 6, it would be 8 minus negative 6. And the difference between two numbers just tells you how far apart they are on the number line. So that's just the distance also. You can think of it as distance. How far apart are they? So distance, as we've discussed before, distance is always going to be a positive number. So negative 6 and positive 8 are 14 units apart, but based on the order that they are in the subtraction problem, that will tell me whether or not my value will be positive or negative. It depends on which one's my starting number. So if I start at positive 8 and travel to negative 6, then I'm moving to the left, which would mean negative 14. But if I start at positive 8 and travel, or if I start at negative 6 and travel to positive 8, I moved 14 units to the right, therefore it's a positive 14. So your distance is just the value of the number, and then the direction will tell you what your sign will be. So if you move to the left, it's going to be a negative. If you move to the right, it will be a positive.